Right.
Yeah, not the Logitechs this time, Benjamin.
No. Over the Sonys now instead. Even though I've used these headphones for the past 6-7 weeks. You're not gonna get me. You're not gonna make me break this time, Day.
I haven't said anything. All I've
You've
just
changed
asked.
your pop filter as well.
Yeah, hang on.
I don't.
where's the
No.
Megatron?
This is the original pop filter. The Megatron is in the bin, I think.
You've
It's just
binned
too-
it.
No,
I think it was just too big.
Take up
just
the whole
way too
thing,
big.
wouldn't it?
the
Yeah,
Death Star
pretty much.
that was popping out the corner every single time.
It's taken up my whole face. It would have been
Yeah.
like here.
I
It was
just
the
like
thing. Yeah.
It looks like you've dumped your whole top room stuff. You just left one little basket with plushies on it.
Yeah, well, we renovated this room. It's just it's kind of the chill out room at the moment. This is the pre-bath room for Nelly. So
Pre-bath.
before
Yeah.
bath,
Do you-
put her in here, put her on this kind of playmat
So you walk. So you're down. You're on the ground floor. You walk up 4 floors to the top.
Yeah,
Let Nelly have 20 minutes up here.
pretty
Then
much.
take it down to the bath, which is another 2 floors down or whatever. And then
I've calculated it, and it's usually just in time. As soon as I turn on the bath, oh no, 5 minutes before I start a game of Hearthstone, then 5 minutes in, turn on the bath,
Wait,
and then
no,
by
I
the time the
reckon
bath
you,
is full, then my game usually finishes. So
When do you turn the
So-
toaster on and all that?
yeah, I was wondering like how many rounds it takes for you to go up. It's also a way for you to increase your steps, right?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Exactly.
that's 10,000 just there.
yeah,
Brilliant.
Fitness.
Oh, boys.
Fair enough.
More steps than the United team yesterday. There you go. Look,
Here we
I've
go.
entered
That's
the
a
segue.
transition.
There you go.
I thought you were a bit fragile. So
So that look, it was a sad viewing. I can't say it was one to rewatch. That the United season DVD is going to be pretty shocking.
Still buy it, honestly.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Committed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough as a United fan right now.
just a
I
bit.
just love the arrogance of all the United pundits before the game. It was just like, drink it in. They were literally just like, this is Spurs. They always bottle it. Oh.
Yeah.
And it's United. They're in a final.
And this
They'll
is
find a way.
United.
This
Yeah,
is such a
like,
good, it's such a good clip of Rio reacting to the goal, and then I've got
Is it Gareth Bale in the
just like
background?
laughing, just clapping along.
There's also
Brilliant.
an old Neville one comparing midfields of Liverpool
Yeah.
and
That's a good
United. That's going around as well.
All the clips. of
Jurgen will
Surfacing.
snap your hand at
Jurgen
straight
would,
in.
yeah. Oh my
He said,
God,
he said,
hilarious.
if I was Slot, I'd actually swap Liverpool's midfield.
Oh, was it
to
Slot?
Man
Yeah,
United's
well
now.
No, it was Jurgen, I think.
Oh, it was.
It was Jurgen at the time. Brilliant.
Mm.
That is atrocious, isn't it? That is so
Yeah.
bad. I mean, I've been reveling in like all of the
game
drama
was
around
shocking,
it.
though.
The game was so bad, but the thing is though, it was less about how the game actually panned out and just more
No,
about the result.
It was
Like,
all outcome. Yeah.
I could easily have just watched that 90 minutes if there was a good pass. Brilliant. That's
wasn't.
but there was like
Yeah,
one or
I
two
was
good
searching.
passes from Fernandez, but they were just like completely wild. They could have gone like
I think the best
anywhere.
pass that I saw that was like Harry
Maguire.
Maguire's like
Yes.
Dorgu on the left
Yeah.
Oh,
wing.
yeah.
But
I think
it
Maguire
was-
was your best player last night, honestly.
yeah, I thought
he got rattled by Romero. I think.
But he was mugging off Solanke the whole game.
I thought
Solanke
Euro
didn't
was
do
good.
anything.
I thought Lenny
Euro
was good.
had an okay time. Look,
Yeah, he's good on the ball.
I think he touched the ball probably the most out of all our players.
Yeah,
to be honest,
probably
which-
did.
Yeah. The
Yeah, I don't know.
but just been reveling in the kind of financial stuff afterwards because it is just so interesting.
The amount of click upload as the like, so what now for United? I've watched like 10 of them. I'm loving
Yeah.
it.
And they only made apparently with the Mason Mount they only made 1.5 million last night and didn't secure
For
any.
being in the final. Yeah.
That's like
at least give the point where it's like we made 5 million for being in the final and had to pay 3.5 to
Yeah.
Chelsea. Not one that 1.5. You just told it really awfully, Ben. Okay, you don't do that again.
Do the full stats. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Make it meaningful.
It's just so it's just mad, isn't it? Like the money that's surrounding it, and like you were 90 minutes away from just so much revenue next season.
The thing, what's really interesting was that like the weight of it for United was like their future, whereas for Spurs it's literally just like being a banter club still for a bit longer.
I think if Tottenham, the thing is, if Tottenham lost, they would have remembered it for about 5 minutes and then just gone back to status quo. But for United, like this is put them back like at least 5 years, if that.
Well, I wonder if it's. I mean, there's small things we have to take from this. Okay, as a United fan, one, I get to say that Arsenal are not European champions.
Yeah, sure.
And Spurs can actually say they are.
There's been some great Venn diagrams of all the different European trophies, and Arsenal just sit outside.
It's like West Ham even.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Two, I guess I could take away that we've only got one game a week to deal with next week.
Oh yes.
So we don't have to worry about
that
multiple
is
games.
big. Yeah.
I guess you're
if we're committing to Ruben, that means he's under so much scrutiny, but he'll have a summer, he'll have a January transfer window, and he'll have 6 days a week to be drilling something into these players, and whether that's a football knowledge or whether it's something else, he needs to drill something into them.
Well, Man United came out tonight, didn't they? And they said they fully backhammer him.
Well, yeah, they said they always have. They can't turn it around at this point.
Yeah, they can't not at this point. Yeah,
I mean, what would happen? Who would come in? It doesn't even make sense. We're committed to this. We're committed to this formation. We're committed to his ideals, his ideology. We just got to go for it now, and whatever happens, happens.
I did also just want to quickly mention the bonus Werther's fantasy football for the updates.
Yeah.
We have 1 week remaining. And after a thrilling 55-pointer from Ben, he is now 9 points above me going into this final week.
It's all to play for.
Do you have any chips left to play this week?
Oh, no. They're long gone.
Certainly
I think I played my first chips in the first 10 weeks.
So I have bench boost still to play. So essentially I need all my subs to play fairly well to basically recoup the 9.
I think you have good subs.
We've both had torrid seasons.
Pretty bad.
Out in front is Rebecca right now on 16 points above second, who is her boyfriend Max, and I'm under reliable information that whoever loses has to pay for the other's date night. so big stakes there, and now that's even on a podcast, so Max can't back down even if he would want to.
Yeah,
at this stage.
That's
canon, that's the fantasy. I'm putting this year behind me. I'm doing a bit of an Amarin, bit of a rebuild sort of situation. I'm actually in 16th as well, so it's the parallels.
I mean, you look like him.
So
I'm
the West Ham of bonus worders. Very good.
Yeah.
Right,
So that's all the football chat out of the way. There's lots of poke to talk about though.
There is a lot of poke, so let's kick things off, shall we? So if you have hung around all of that, welcome to the pod, everyone. The TCG podcast with myself, Alex Dow, Joe Bernard, and Benjamin the Rab Yard. We are collectively back together once again. We were collectively all together in one place, in Utrecht as well. So I think that's going to be a good segue point into generally what happened for all of us. Probably start with you two, I think, because you two were one half of the casting team, I guess. So how was that, boys?
Rab, do you want to start? It's been a while for you. Behind the desk.
Yeah. I mean,
Stockholm wasn't that long ago.
Well, you know.
It feels like a long time ago. I mean, it was March, so it was 2 months before, and then of course before that I was on paternity. So very big long break from me in between casting, but yeah, it's been good getting back to it more regularly. Obviously Stockholm, that was my first one this season, but then coming back into Utrecht as well, it was another format as well. So getting back into the swing of things and then getting back into another format as well is always fun though. It's a good challenge, and plus being with such good co-casters as well on both occasions, it really helps go under people's wings for a little bit and get calmed down behind the stage to get back into the swing of things. And I had such a good time this season as well, just because this far because, casting with so many different people as well always helps you get back into being a little bit flexible when you're trying to cast. So, it was really good. Specifically the event as well. I think going towards the end of the season, there's a lot of significance placed on it. So it helps just because there is just so much to talk about. And the format and the way it is I absolutely love this format. I think this format's brilliant. I really do enjoy it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's only 2 decks that are, taking everything, and that is true. But I think there is just still a lot of wiggle room for other decks to get great standings as well. And plus, I don't think the top 2 decks are as good as the representation represents even.
Big claim.
I actually,
that is bold.
Please spill.
Didn't say that on the broadcast.
No, I
had your head.
I think upon reflection, I think they are the 2 best decks in format, but I think they can all very easily be exploited by one thing or the other. I think other decks have such a really good, matchup into them. Not 100%. They don't have auto losses in the format, which is why they are so good. But we've seen it this season. We've seen it this season with some decks have great matchups into them.
Joe.
But overall a great time. Utrecht, I've been there before as well. Casted last year's as well, so it's good to get familiarity, and it's very easy for me to get to from Cardiff. But a lot of laughs, good people, cubing.
A lot of cubing. We dropped 3 times.
We did.
On the weekend.
We did drive quite a lot. I mean, I feel like that cube's quite fast, actually. I think
the draft is fast.
The draft
gameplay is about an hour a game for best of 1.
The gameplay we had to do 5 prize cards. This is another reason.
It's 50 minutes. Yeah.
This is another reason why I can't wait to do the Zora cube, because I feel like the drafting and the gameplay will be so fast that I feel like a lot of people are going to kick out of it.
I feel like
I know. Do you realise how hard it is to play 30?
He's got 2 Zoroark GX.
Yeah, I think I've got 6, so I've only got another 28 to go. It's just like, no, how many? No, 26.
Just
I've got another 26 to go.
Customs with various furries as the Zoroark.
Good dude.
I'll send you the pictures.
Could you draw them? Yeah. Brilliant. But overall though, all good.
No, good. I'm glad. It was good to have you back at the desk. Joseph, yourself?
Yeah.
Another one back to back?
Yes. So in the thick of Journey Together, feels like I really have my finger on the pulse in the format, which helps with casting generally. We know what all the lists look like. Those small tweaks are really the only things changing in the field out there right now. We know the big sort of... Is there a big 6? I don't even know if there is a big 6. It really does feel like there's the 2 aggressive basics in Bolt and Miraidon, or like Joltik Box, and then there's Dragapult and Guardi, and then it feels like even Terra Box is on that like second rung. It's had a lot of top 8s, but like not big day 2 representation generally. And then like Dengo seems to have fallen. Zoroark has had its time in the sun, but is again just like not played too much. Flareon as well. So like, yeah, it doesn't feel like there's too many massive decks really. It feels like it's Bolt, Joltik, and the 2 stage 2s trying to battle it out more than anything else.
Yeah, it certainly feels like a bit of a 90s era Premier League, Barclays Premier League, United, Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then the others are there and thereabout at low percentages. But otherwise, a good weekend for yourself, Joe?
Yeah, enjoyed the mixed and fixed. So I did get to cast with Rab and Shay, but neither I've casted with for a long time. And obviously Mike as well. We're getting into our flow now, and I think we got into a really good rhythm by the end of the weekend. So very happy with how that shaped up. We had a lot of variety on stream day 1. I know Rab got to talk about Okidogi, which was fun.
Very good.
But yeah, generally just like a lot of different decks, and then as we'd expect in day 2 of the tournament, as we'll get to those like meta share and the deck lists in more detail, it became all about, well, in Utrecht it was certainly all about the Dragapults, right? They seemed to rise to the top. So we saw a lot of those Dragapult mirrors, and that's the only fear factor I have of this format. Rab, you were saying it's like this amazing format. My headache is that like to play the top 2 decks, the mirrors are so grief, I feel like. The God of War has a bit more nuance, but I feel like Dragapult Mirror is just a grief fest. And it really is like, we're both recon directiving to find a 3-piece combo to then completely railroad the other person from playing the game whatsoever. That's always what it felt like on our stream games.
I should place an asterisk on it. I think it's a good format for the viewer. I don't think it's a good.
You think Dragapult Mirror is good for the viewer?
I don't think that's good for the viewer. I don't think slow Dragapult Mirror is good for the viewer. But everything else is fine.
Maybe Dusk was a bit swingier, but
I really enjoy the slow versus Dusk. I really enjoy.
Is that the analyst side of us coming into it, thinking like what
don't
lines
know
are
about
happening here?
I feel like they're both doing the same thing. They're both just recon directiving, looking for boss energy EX.
It's my hot take. I think that it's a good viewer format. Personally.
Also, I imagine Twitch chat is all just saying Banitchy Pollen, this is boring, z, more Dragapult. Like, there's nothing Twitch chat hates more than the best deck in format winning a game on stream. It's that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
They absolutely hate the thing. So
I think there's plenty of comments on the YouTube upload as well, just all being like, oh, anything but Drago matchups and all this kind of thing. But it's what's good, right? I think
taking more than 2 seconds on a recon directive decision.
Day 2, I just commentated Dragapult. Day 2 was it was the only thing I commentated. But yeah, I think why I don't mind it is that it is just a format of variation. I mentioned it on the stream. I think it's just a format of variance. Yes, you can get high representation. No. What I'm saying, a variance of deck list. I think yes, you can have a high representation of Dragapult, but those lists won't be the same at all.
Are you saying variants?
Yeah, I think you mean
variants.
Variance.
No, with a T or with a C.
No, with a C. With a CE.
I feel like you should be saying with a T.
Do you know what variance
and then we might agree with you.
No, it's a variance of variant.
No,
does that make sense?
We're moving on. Let's look at the percentages, shall we?
Fine. We'll start with day 1.
I tried to help you there.
Start with day 1. I think I think the listeners will know what I'm on about.
Well, we don't. No. So good luck to them.
Look, I'll give you the actual answer. So variance is like a spread of variability, like a percentage variance.
Yeah.
Like variant is like when there's multiple like forms or versions of something, right? So
That's
which one are you going for?
It's both.
Huh?
Right. We're moving on.
It's both. What I'm saying.
That's why I love it.
And for everyone who's listening to the pod, Ben's training to become an AI solutions consultant. So anything to do with numbers,
what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that
artificial intelligence.
What I'm trying to say is that no list is the same. So it's a variance.
So they're different.
So there's a lot of different variants of Dragapult
variant,
which makes it interesting for you.
So
there's not. Well, I mean, no, we'll move on.
Joe. Right. Okay. Carry on. Right. Day 1.
So a few interesting variants out here.
I'll whittle down.
Oh, go on then.
Do you want to?
You go.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's a world where he's right.
Right. Dragapult 15%. 186 deck. Oh yeah. Total decks. 1,000. Yeah.
Move it on.
Fine. Dragapult 15%. Raging Bolt 13. Gardevoir 12. Miraidon 9. Unclassified 6. And then Ogerpon Noctowl 5%.
So I tried to look at some of the unclassified. There is there is a jumble sale going on in there naturally, but I do know that Moon to Dunce is currently unclassified.
That's right. Yeah.
Among that 6%,
the
definitely
prize,
some amount of the single prize Roaring Moon is in there.
Yeah.
Do we have it on Labs? Like they have the breakdown, right?
I can try and have
the
a look.
single.
I think I might have it up.
Hold the line.
It's loading.
The single prize was the biggest deck that was classed as unclassified.
Not in terms of like what other is, but we can see even if we have the variant groupings. Yeah. So I'm on it now.
It was like the four.
There was 26 Moon de Dance, which is 2%.
Yeah, that's right.
So there were other things in that mix as well as unclassified.
Yeah.
But I guess it was just interesting to see what that share is on that.
I couldn't really nail it because there were some bizarre things going on, as always.
That was the most. I think that was the most popular deck in unclassified, though, right? Was the Royal Moon?
I'd be guessing. Like Okie Dokie, obviously, it was an unclassified, and there was like a couple in day 2 as well. So like, 4 in the room day 1. Look out for them.
Yeah, it was.
If you look on labs.limitless.com, it's like you'll get like Toad Scrawl in there or
right.
Yeah.
Serena.
Do you want me to see if I can find it?
I personally don't like the unclassified makes our graphic.
I guess that's why I wanted to point us to labs, because then we could see what the top 10 decks, most played decks were. It's like Raging Bolt is 12.5%, Gardevoir is 12.2%, Joltik Box 9.5%. Slow Polt 9.2, Polt Dustoir 5.7, Terrabox 5.
Yeah. There was stuff put as other as well, but it was like Flareon, but with a Leafeon in it, so it's like classed as
some
other,
of those.
So.
Sometimes that does mess with it.
Someone told me they lost to Hydrapple over the weekend. Can't remember who. But Copperager, Azumarill. There's like a load. Look at some of these decks that are in.
Yeah.
Good state of
great.
Wild.
0% conversion, which is weird.
You're joking.
Don't jump ahead, Joe.
But yeah, Dragapult. I think the top 3 decks don't surprise anybody really. I think a lot of people would have expected these 3, even these top 4 being the top most.
You guys would have covered it on the broadcast. Raging Bolt's popularity would have went up after taking down tournament, right? So and we know already it has a lot of fans. I was gonna say stands, but fans anyway. So people are just naturally gonna pick up that version because we spoke about it on the last pod how we thought it'd have a pretty tough time into Gardevoir, and Christian about to end up going like 3-0-1 against it or something like that, including twice beating Brent, who seems to be the Gardevoir god right now. I guess those top 4 again. We know that Joltik Box is becoming super popular as well, just because of the aggression it has, despite needing that first turn to set up. But when you're going up against stage 2 decks, that gives you the time. I guess that's why there's a lot of popularity there. I think there's a big surprise with the Terra Box though. I feel like people kept talking about it, that it felt like it was getting better or good going into these tournaments now, but it's still quite low in terms of play rate, I suppose. Its
conversion is embarrassing as well.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Conversion in Utrecht. I know we'll really look at like a list in. I know in Melbourne it obviously had a better time, and there are some different lists from some of the Japanese contingent who travelled over to Australia. But in Utrecht, it had a woeful showing.
we saw Adam Hawkins play at day 1, and one thing I really wanted to ask him after his game was why Terra Box, because I feel like the rationale playing it is not really strictly identified. I don't think there was does it have a good matchup spread here? Unless it's Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt is an obviously good matchup, but everything else seems kind of bad, really. Unless
you have so many lines of play that kind of gives you like almost outs into the majority of the field. Mm-hmm. It's when it feels scary when like your things are literally getting one shot. But then more often than not, those are the types of matchups where they may only have like one switch or like one Turo or something. So it's a bit of a glass cannon, but if you can find the right lines at the right time, especially when you're playing a Noctowl engine anyway, you can kind of cherry pick it. That's how I've always seen it anyway.
Yeah.
I think we saw Adam Ty on the stream as well. He almost made a corner comeback, but he just ran out of gusting effects, I think, to close the game. It's a weird thing to like pick, because also, even though Dragapult's the most popular deck in the room, I feel like it's a hard pick to the tournaments. Like you were saying, Rab, like why pick Terrabox? But I also think why pick Dragapult if you're going to face a bunch of mirrors and then face Gardevoir, which is rough, and still it's like the most popular deck in the room. So I know like Terrabox like taking its chances against the stage 2s seems fair to me. Like, it's still a fair call, definitely.
Mm.
I feel like I've been playing some Flareon earlier this week. I'm not taking it to Portland now, but I was playing Flareon and debating it between Flareon and Terrabox and being like, oh, Terrabox is the better into Guardy, so why am I even trying Flareon right now? You know what I mean?
No. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but I think Dragon Ball just has a better matchup than I don't know.
You should though.
I just don't have a lot of confidence in Terrabox.
No, I think that's
fine.
fair, and the results kind of back that up, right? But
Yeah.
it's one of those where
It's metagame agnostic. That's what it's
Yeah.
trying to be metagame agnostic,
Yeah.
right? By having a tech for everything in terms of typing or whatever.
Yeah, but it's frail. That's why I called it a glass cannon, I suppose.
Yeah.
Interesting day one. I think it's kind of what you'd expect, in all honesty. Certainly how I would have expected it. I mean, other than the unclassified, which we
Can go through.
Why is that on there? Like, wow. Golden Go really is less popular in Europe, I think, than the US.
We can go through best of the rest.
Is that when it's double, like the variants are joined together though? Like,
yeah, the 9% would put it alongside the Miraidon, so it should push Terrabox off the graphic.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need to have some words and try and fix
best of the rest.
We did try,
Yeah,
just
fair.
not enough time.
Best of the rest day one. Goldengo Dragapult 5%, EV Toolbox 4%, Goldengo 4, Archaladon 3, Dragapult Zard 3, and then Ends Toolbox 3 as well. Same
toolbox.
Yeah,
The name?
It should be Ends.
This was another discussion we had, but it's how Arcanine puts it. So
EVEX has 1E as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was why I leaned forward to have a double check.
I also pointed that out. Anyway, forget it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's one of those.
Ends Toolbox and Dragapult Zard have the same amount of dex. Actually, it's pretty equal.
Pretty equal.
Obviously, yeah.
Almost identical.
Yeah, don't listen to me. Don't. Stop.
He's had a tough day. He's watched too many
Stop
Man United memes.
Yeah.
Goldbridge has been
I've
on
gone
his mind.
I've gone full PSR today, which is a football acronym, by the way.
Just very quickly touching on this. Then I mean, I don't know who or what still plays Archaladon EX. So that's a big surprise.
Yeah, or why? Yeah, exactly.
EV Toolbox really still like intrigues me in terms of a deck. I played it once in the weekend and I had no idea what I was doing and I ended up making a good play, but it was like purely
one good
accidental.
One.
Well,
good play.
I did take a win against EV Box, but it was just like I asked some really weird questions to my opponent. Because
what
of
do you mean?
the stupidness. I slammed all my energies on, so he basically had an Angelite ready, for the next turn because he already done it the first turn, and I rebuilt, and with one Guardy because I put 3 routes down like turn 2 or something. Yeah. But I basically like smacked into his Sylveon with a Gardevoir EX or something big, but then I also loaded up most of my energy to a Screamtail. So rather than Angelite my other routes on the bench, which meant I still had access to something at some point, or a quicker turn to get a Guardian at some point, he obviously shuffled my energies and the Screamtail. But I never knew at that point whether it was correct or not. But I think he had to tank for quite a while. It was just like, what the hell do I do here? So it's quite interesting.
It's a good matchup for Gardevoir, and we saw it actually on stream where Julius Brumfeld was like charging for a Flareon, and essentially he just attacked with Clefairy, and then as soon as there's a Clefairy, a Guardy, and something else in the mix, they're just like, there's a lot of pressure here no matter what happens, and I am running down the turns and panicking. So one of the lists we'll look at from Melbourne plays an Umbreon EX in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that could surprise some Guardies. I think that's actually correct as well from my testing this week, but I still think you'll cope into Guardy anyway, so it doesn't make a big difference.
I think I need to give it a lot more.
Said he was slightly favoured into Guardy.
He's wrong.
I'm glad.
Yeah, he's definitely wrong. I need to give this a lot more time on live because it's an archetype that I would like to test a lot more to find its ins and outs because each time I've seen it being played, I've been thoroughly underwhelmed. And after me and Joe It was
Unfortunately,
that
on
was our
stream
round.
it wasn't played properly on stream.
And
Unfortunately,
it
it could have been a much closer game.
We took our headphones off now, and I said to Joe, he did nothing. He angulated 4 times, and I just thought, oh man, it was just a
no
steamroll.
prizes either game. Yeah,
He just announced Angelite four times, and that was the whole.
But yeah, Flareon's weird. I've had 3 different times of wanting to revisit it, and every time I've enjoyed it enough to be intrigued by it for a couple of days, and then I start seeing the flaws of it every time I go back to it. For what it's worth, I think I have a pretty solid idea of what the right list should be, and I was close to bringing it this weekend, but I've pivoted.
Mate. From what I can see, you're still at home, so
I am still at home.
You have my Hopzartian, so you can.
Yeah, do have those.
Right. We'll get there. Anyway,
Do you
nothing. I don't know.
I just wanted to ask though, would you play the Umbreon?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Umbreon feels correct to me. I feel like it's better than Black Belt or Kieran in the deck.
Nice.
Because you can't just wait for a Gardevoir to be in the active for you. You gotta hunt that guy.
You've got to do something. Yeah. Fair enough.
But the day 2 conversion's really simple. The stage 2s did well. That's more or less it. And Terror Box did badly. That's the day 2.
You can flash it up, but
do you want me to go through it? Do you want me to go through it?
Not really.
Okay.
We have to go through 2 more of these, so we may as well just give the TLDR.
216 players, day 2, 35% were staged as the 2 stage 2 decks. There you go.
Eevee did get its second E and did make day 1 great.
It did get a second E.
So 5%.
Unclassified drop. Unclassified drop to the second page.
Can't believe it.
How many decks did it go from? Like 70 or something to like 7? Hang on.
70 to
71 to 7. 7. It's not a good conversion for unclassified. 2 of them were okie dokie. Yeah. Do you want? Did you want to go through? Go on.
I was going to go straight into the results.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fine.
Top 8.
Fine.
The clean top 8 cut.
It was a clean top 8. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We had a clean top 8 cut. I'll go through the decks now. We had 3 slow Dragapults, 1 Dragapult Dusknoir, 1 Dragazard, 1 End Zoroark, 1 Gardevoir, and 1 Raging Bolt Ogbon.
Do you know another thing I like about Labs putting in the list is that it just says where the top.
It tells you. I can't believe it.
It just makes life so much easier trying to figure it out. Imagine it's just like Ben trying to look.
Thinks like a content
I think
creator, that's the thing. He knows
I think
that people use the website.
I think for the past 6 months we've been going. Was it a top 8 cut?
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it 12?
yeah.
Was it 16?
Who else was made it?
Who else watched the stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, clean top 8. Yeah, it was good. I felt like all the games, none of them were kind of one-sided. None of them were super quick. A lot of them were quite grindy.
I mean, Yoan got mugged off by Yoa's Maractus, right? That was the sad game.
That was the sad
game.
2 games back to back. It was like, I've checkmated you with Maractus. Want to see me do it again? Like that was literally it.
He plays the Maractus variants.
Bolt plays 1 Prime Catcher, and it can be nullified by Genesect, and then they're stuck. That happened twice. But it was Yoa, like, he in the second game especially, his hand was really weird, and he did a very clever Ultra Ball that kept that line open from, like, a really small amount of cards remaining and, like, 1 Recon Directive to get him there. Like, he Ultra Balled away a Poffin when he had, like, only 1 Cloak in play and no Dreepy on board, and like, my neurons were firing, like, what the heck is going on? And then it became clear, like, 2 turns later that, like, he valued a tool that much just so he can nullify as quickly as possible and checkmate. That was very, very cool.
That was the line of play.
So if you're playing Bolt, play either a Turo or a Switch, please. That's my...
Just the one of.
That's the
hint.
Adaptation from this event. But some good players in top 8 as well, right?
They were, very good.
The return of Ryan Morehouse, which is always nice to see. I saw him at
Yeah.
tables a few times. He's someone we've historically known in the UK as one of our better players, but he's kind of
I think the
taken a
best.
back
I'm
seat for a
saying
while.
it.
Yeah,
The best.
I'm saying it.
we
saying it.
we had this discussion. behind the
Hawkins won't be
stage.
happy with that because he's got less points
Yeah.
on Limitless. But I do think Ryan is the best.
We did discuss this behind stage. Yeah, I was scared not to feature Ryan Morehouse. Great guy as well. Really nice person.
Got a lot of time
Such a consistent player. But we mentioned it a couple of times on the stream. Doesn't get to play or doesn't play as much. As many
if you
others.
look at his Limitless, it looks like he's inconsistent, but he's cutting or doing well at the ones he attends.
Yeah, if you actually show him what he attended and what he didn't, it would be a very different picture. But yeah, very good to see him.
So Johan after winning Seville. Conti has been a regional winner this season. Noah Sakajian had a decent time in Seville as well. He's pivoted from Enzorwak to Draga Dustoir. The sort of very thick Draga Dusk as well. No Monkey Dory Luminous, like hybrid build that we saw from Julio in Milwaukee. I really like Jan's list of Enzorwak as well. A couple really smart inclusions, I think, of Black Belt's Training being like a very good card, I think, in the deck.
Got that up there.
Because that Defiance ban seems so important, and like having Black Belt Palpad Defiance box now gives you like just enough outs, I think, to make the Flame Bodies work to the best of their ability. And the League headquarters definitely feels like a nice check and balance to Joltik box and Bolt to an extent. And these are like the big question mark of Zoroark is like, sure, you beat the stage 2s, great, good for you. How do you deal with the other stuff? And I feel like these two inclusions definitely help you. Pushing Zoro from 17 to 21 with a black belt with counter catcher seems pretty massive.
It was a story I was really trying to push on the stream, which is how are these evolving archetypes dealing with the faster guys, Miraidon and Raging Bolt. And a lot of people had taken Pokemon League headquarters as their option. And I think I think you did. Yeah, I think it's the most comfortable option, other than anything else.
The thing is, like, even if Joltik wants to play like 1 or 2 stadiums, they probably can't fit more than 2. Even in that situation, against the Guardians and the Pulse, they're throwing you down to 1 card. The Enzorwak is doing a similar thing, and they're throwing the stadium down on a 0 or like on that really low hand size anyway. So they have to just really punt to find it anyway, so it doesn't make a big deal, even if they have the answer, and some just simply don't.
Do you know how this differs from Lucas's deck? Because it's the Bombardier.
Yeah, the black belt and the HQ. That's what I just
No. Sorry. What has he taken out for them?
I can tell you. I can do a quick...
I know you put that in. But what's he taken out? Did he play 4 Cyrano? I'm pretty confident he played 4.
He did play 4 Serrano. He also played Code Breaking. So that's right. Iono 1 Research.
Okay, fine.
He did play 2 Artisan. So Lucas played double Artisan.
Yeah, he played 4 stadiums, didn't he?
And this is so this is extra Darumaka.
Okay.
A few
differences. Yeah.
Only 1 Turret scenario. It's just like
and the one,
same
the
cards,
one eligible?
but fiddling counts, you know?
Isn't the one eligible as well? I don't think Lucas played eligible, right?
Lucas did not play eligible, and we actually spoke about that.
Yeah, we did, We did.
Anyway.
We did.
So I did. I think this is a really good, like, very close Enzorwak list now. I think it covers some of my big headaches of it.
Yeah, it's good. Did you guys want to go through any other lists other than the top 2, perhaps?
Yeah, we should just look at Yoa's, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, a player who's... I think he's actually done quite well since he's aged up. It's his 2nd season as a master, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just... I mean, I've only kind of seen the odd bit of gameplay here and there, and you really highlighted it. The kind of whole checkmate against Johan in the top 4 matchup, and then the finals was, well, I mean, it's against Alberto, and Alberto didn't. He was able to get a lock up, right? If I'm mistaken, in the final game, and Alberto just didn't really have much of a setup in comparison.
They were both reconning. It was a big. They both were sat on big hands and both waiting to pull the trigger fully, and I think Alberto decided not. He made a couple of decisions that were.
I guess I caught game 3 mostly.
Yeah, I mean, game 3 was when he got his energy and EXP share wiped all in one turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how the matchup really does go. You're both pollinating, you're both trying to find monkey, you're both trying to find boss EX attachments, and that's they're both trying to do the same thing.
I really enjoyed the finals. I couldn't keep my eyes off it. I was backstage just watching it, and I just didn't know where it was going to go. Really.
Yeah, I mean, there is that element to it because both players see 12 cards and pick whatever. Yeah.
Damage counter spread is an effective attack. I mean, it's such a different. I don't know. It just adds an extra layers of complexity to games in terms of how you want to approach a matchup, and
it does.
how you see end games, as well is just completely different, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it, and at the end of the game when I went around to do the ceremony thing, both players were kind of head in hands, and when I was asking them questions, they were just saying it could have gone completely differently if just one damage counter or two damage counters were just completely different. I said to Alberto, I don't know what more you could have done. And then he said, no, I made like 10 misplays. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I definitely remember. So he told me about an Iota that he could have played when they were both stacking hands and trying to find a big combo. So he highlighted that during the game. But I definitely think he reconned and didn't take a scouting when I think it was the correct thing to do. Anyway, like there was like one or two key decisions. And then Alberto got so far behind that his counter math became scruffy and wasted like a lot of damage eventually. I feel like there was a point where he could have taken a cloak down to 30, so even if there was a monkey coming back, you could clear it off. It didn't help your prize map, but it helped your board state, and I felt like that was also important at a stage. There was like a lot of obviously there's a lot of intricacy there, and I
think that's one thing I've started to figure out whilst being able to play this event, is obviously the damage play. I play Gardevoir, but the damage placements have become even more key. And when you waste just 10 sometimes, that could just completely ruin the game plan. But more often than not, I found myself in a position where, can I progress the board state in terms of my prize mapping? Or do I progress the board state in a way that I should be ahead in maybe two more turns? And that's kind of maybe a bit of a struggle that maybe a lot of players we can start to see in some of these matchups going forward as well.
We saw it a lot of times over the weekend where players were opting for that approach, not going for an aggressive style, just going for, 4 prize or 6 prize turn if they could. And it's a very skill intensive deck and one that I definitely underestimated that aspect going into this tournament, but I think now that Dragapult's a lot more established in the format, I think now we're seeing it being really, really refined in terms of a game plan, and a lot, as you said, Joe, a lot more fine margins in games as well. So yeah, I thought the final was great. I thought it was fantastic. Well played to both.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Joe. I think you really highlighted on maybe it was the interview where he had to beat back-to-back champions in his run to becoming a champion himself.
Also,
so yeah,
just a tiny fun note is that in his Swiss rounds he made a massive blunder against Noah, where he had made that big mistake, and to throughout that day be then confident enough to go back on stage against two champions and just have that fortitude to be I was an idiot, slap my head, move on, and then still came back. That was rad to see. And also I think it makes him much more human to the viewers to be this guy made this mistake earlier, did get punished for it, but that was one of his only ties of the entire tournament, and was then able to play really, really neatly throughout the remainder of the event. Was so cool to see.
Me and Shay were head in hands at that moment. He ultra balled the boss's orders and we were like, no. Yeah. Gutting.
Anyway, he just forgot about a Lux cape, essentially, was his biggest thing.
Cool.
Anyway.
Right. that's Utrecht. I mean, I did play. I'll just kind of highlight this as well because
So hang on, I went to bed at 1 a.m. and I had Zoro sleeved up for you. So imagine my surprise.
You did have Zoroark laid out. You did also say in an asterisk afterwards that Guardi and Dragapult were in deck boxes as well to steal pieces from, rather than. But yeah, I was going into it. I was pretty headstrong about potentially playing Zoroark. It just seemed like something I'd enjoy a lot more. Just trade is just such an amazing ability. But I did pivot to Gardevoir. Obviously start where everyone else did, start with Brent's list, and I think we had one off comment just before you did start snoring away, Joe, about just both of us saying we wanted Buddy Poffin back in. So 2 of them went back into the list. One for a nest ball and one for the stretcher, and then I think I came back to you like the day afterwards and said I wonder if that stretcher was a mistake. I still kind of think probably it's better to have the 4th stretcher, but I think it was absolutely fine with the 3 in the end as well. And I think I've also seen, I mean, they're very different lists, but we'll touch on it afterwards with William Azevedo's Guardi list. He played 3 stretchers.
Yep.
As well, but
and 1 Poffin. He snuck the Poffin in as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway.
But yeah, I had a pretty good tournament, I suppose. I dared to dream in day 1. I ended up on stream through in game 2 where there was probably multiple lines, but the whole time I was thinking that I actually still had opportunities to win in that game, and I think that's what I was just very tunnel visioned on, rather than like, oh, there's potentially some time I can play around with and using Badoo to slowing the game down and not really giving them an opportunity, or making the play with a mind bend attack, just because I think that it puts me in a fantastic position if he has to retreat or find another way out or so on. But yeah, I tied on stream. It was a bit of a shame. So
Pulse, right?
Yeah, against Golden Go Pult, exactly. But it means I still haven't like got the monkey off the back of throwing on stream the last 2 times I've been on, which
honestly, I'm just convinced that every game there's someone throwing on every broadcast ever. Like I'm convinced at this stage.
No, don't ask me about it.
What was the other time? Was it the wash energy?
It was the Liverpool me being ill. In
That's right. Yeah.
And pretending to read a card and ignoring it afterwards. I thought I had a superpower, ignore all effects of cards that I read. But yeah,
it's coming back because I can't read.
I probably couldn't read at that point, to be fair, round 1. So yeah, I had that moment. I ended 602 in day 1, so we're still in a pretty cool position.
Yeah.
And then day 2 didn't go as well as I would have liked. I had a first Guardi mirror as my first round. I thought I felt like I played out of my skin despite being very far behind in game 1. But an Iono to 2, taking out one of his Gardevoirs and basically trying to set up a board where I checkmate, but he hit a Fez or Nest Ball out of the Iono to 2, and that was all she wrote because he could just pick the pieces afterwards. And then my tournament was essentially ended by Johan in day 2 Swiss as well, which he beat me with his Raging Bolt deck. And again, just showcasing why some of those, in the hands of a good player as well, with that type of deck against arguably an unfavoured matchup, you can still actually navigate a pretty good victory.
Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so we did have Johan having that awkward game with Corner, but he had another game on stream where he was playing so well with that deck, and the reserved approach with Bolt is such a, so often you don't see that, but he tried, as much as possible, he would just really ignore the fact that Hoots were on his board until he absolutely had to do something with them, just so that there wasn't the inevitable countercatcher stamp, hope you start having to pay retreat and wasting attachments or having turns off. He was doing everything he possibly could with just Hoots in play, and that was really smart.
Was that the game against Gino you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah. That game was insane. He had only used Dual Seeker at the very end of the game 1, and then game
didn't
2
prime.
I think game 2 only used it.
Either.
I think that's right. And then I think game 2 we only used twice. maybe once. But again,
And
one
it
of them was at the
like
very end
turn
of the
3,
game.
turn 4. Exactly. Yeah.
It's insane. Dow, I have your list up here actually. I think from memory, Joe said that you wanted a
He's already
4th
told
light
us.
structure.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
I
been
already
over
said
this.
that.
Were you listening? Hello, Ben.
What? Yeah.
Benjamin?
No, I was just saying. What would your cut be?
Poffin.
We've done this.
Oh, okay.
I want to put.
Nice.
I ideally force because of the type of deck that you play now with Gardevoir, where often you're drawing decks through research or you're discarding a bunch of pieces with Ultra Ball. You just feel so much more secure if you had the 4th Night Stretcher, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Buddy Poffin's incredible because just being able to get the 3rd routes, or if one goes down, and
Just
the
rolls
piece
Budu
like a
as
Clefairy
well,
or
right? It's
Budu,
like,
yeah.
wow.
Or even Drifloon, which is kind of when I needed to grab it at times, saves myself to use rather than having Nest Ball, using that on one of those pieces. I could save that my Artisan to get a Monkey Dory out and things like that instead. I mean, just generally, Brent's list is just a very nice list to use. I still just kind of cringe a little bit having to use a Nest Ball for routes, and that's why I liked Buddy Poffin.
Yep.
Just to save myself those pieces for later game, Fez or the bigger pieces.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, look, Guardies is definitely we will talk about it, and we will continue talking about it throughout this pod, despite already being 51 minutes in or 50 minutes in. It's just such a fun deck actually to pilot, because you're often just drawing cards, getting into the pieces, and then you don't have that kind of tricky scenario of refinement a key piece or resource away and hoping that kind of bails you out or something. You're just kind of playing what you've got available to you, which makes it a bit more streamlined. I think is what a lot of people told me throughout the weekend.
Yep,
I feel that.
Fair enough. Did you both want to go through Santiago and Melbourne very quickly before we go into a quick fire tier list?
Let's quick gloss over for Santiago. I think maybe we can start off there first, because alongside Utrecht, we had 2 regional championships happen as well. So one in Santiago and one in Melbourne. Santiago, and I think I've already kind of semi-mentioned it, was won by William Azevedo with a Gardevoir list as well, but not the Tonneson list.
No.
He's backing Arvin, as always, just like he did with his Zard builds. It's a double TM Evo, triple Curlier concoction. And I think on stream I was saying that, essentially, as I've played a bunch of Dragapults, more or less your Gardevoir win condition, obviously there's so many ways to beat it, but the most consistent way, I feel like, is the scam of just, I've Budued first, I've found my Pult, I've taken out a Curlier and a Ralts before you've got to you obviously can't Candy, so before you get to Guardy, I've just scammed you. I'm playing a 3rd copy of Curlier, helps that, but also the double TM Evo clearly helps with that approach. So I do like sort of shrugging in the face of Budu a little bit, and TM Evo is a great card to help with that.
And it's still pretty heavy on like 3 Ionos, 3 research. So
exactly,
when there's opportunities when you don't need to just go for a tool card from Arvin because you're already being Itchy Pollen locked, you can still kind of go through the deck when you need to. He plays the Mew EX, so he does have the opportunity to swing back with a massive copy of Phantom Dive as well in that kind of matchup. So there's a lot of things to like. I do actually still miss the Arvin TM Evolution type kind of build, because it just feels so clean. I don't know.
When you get it, oh boy.
Yeah.
But also it's
I'd
not
agree.
like you have to do it turn 1 now. Like, because Itchy Pollen happens for so long, just TM Evoing once, like a Dragapult is sweating at that point. As soon as they see that Gardevoir hit the board, they are like, this is where the game turns, and I'm really on the back foot now, so yeah.
But do you have the top cut up there?
I just had Williams deck up there. Just had Williams deck there, but I can run through the top 8. Yeah, sure. So the deck.
Top 12.
Top 12.
Oh no, sorry, I'm just running through top 8. Unsure.
Right.
Yeah,
oh no. Sorry. We have labs. Yeah,
I'll tell you the other 4 if you want.
Sorry. Right.
I'm just doing A.
Just stop.
Only winners.
Right. I'll just run through the list quickly then. 2 Gardevoir, 2 Joltik, 1 Raging Bolt, 2 Dragapult Slow, 1 Dragazard, 1 Dragadusk, 1 Dragadengo, 1 Flareon, and 1 Terrapagos. I'm guessing that
Well
is
done.
tank Terrapagos. Yes, it is. Yeah,
That'd be tank.
with the Volcanion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of areas there.
Yeah,
I
think
would say.
we probably like based on what we've covered over Utrecht. I mean, there's probably not
Yeah.
too much more to go over here at the same time. So maybe we can quickly gloss over
Not too much difference.
Melbourne as well.
Can we
Yeah.
quickly just talk?
Oh.
Sorry, there was an interesting Chinese player.
There was, yeah.
Playing
Came
the Joltik
third.
box with the protective goggles so that Pikachu can't be
Oh.
KO'd by Slitherwing. Oh yes, it's the Raging Bolt tech. Come on.
Protective goggles.
Come on.
That's the only card where I was like, that's mental. And it's cool to see a Chinese player making a trip over and getting top
My
4.
boy.
How do
That's
you
not-
pronounce
That's not.
Chengzi?
Chen
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, Chen Ji Jin. Yeah. Protective goggles. Not his first time seeing play. It was actually played.
Where
in
where
another,
has it been? Where have we seen it before?
It was actually in another Joltik box in Santiago. 168th,
Ooh.
plays by Marcos Cifuentes Doran. And then a senior in Perth. I mean, this must have been quite a while back. Won it.
Yeah, this is a completely different
with-
format.
Yeah.
We've gone way back.
So,
Yeah,
The top
yeah.
16
So-
was pretty cool. I think I saw as well. That was that Don fan.
Great
That was
task.
a great touch.
Yeah.
Deal, yeah.
Don Fan Great Tusk.
With a redeemable ticket.
Playing the Dunsparce.
Naturally, yeah.
Is that how?
It's always fun.
Is that how you win with it? The Dunsparce.
Yeah. It's played to dance past for ages.
Yeah. I think I'll just.
Come on. Aren't you keeping up with the Great Tusk?
I'm not actually. Weirdly.
Essentially, the thing to bear in mind is that Neutralization Zone is definitely a really good card right now.
Strong,
There's a
yeah.
lot of slow pulls that play
Yes.
0 stadiums, or maybe 1, and obviously Tusk can mill it. So as soon as they do, they win on the spot, basically.
Yeah.
So
Great Tusk.
yeah, I feel like you have to play a stadium card in any deck you play now, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
But
Try
then-
and ration
wait,
it
has,
when you
has
see
Bolt not played a stadium?
Pult.
No, oh. What you
Pulse.
said Bolt, yeah. Does Bolt
Oh,
not
sorry,
play?
I meant Pult. Yeah, straight
Okay.
Pult. Raging Bolt does.
I mean-
Play
Yes.
3, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
straight
Yeah.
Dragapult sometimes plays none.
Even I got confused then. I thought you were on about Joltik, and then I thought Joltik only
Joltik
plays
also
one or two
doesn't
stadium.
play-
Yeah, it usually just
Joltik
plays
can
1 or
play
2
one.
stadium, right?
1 or 0, I would say.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Both
Interesting.
top 4 lists did play a town store though, and that is some recognition of maybe HQ being a threat to them.
Protective goggles as well. Just...
Right. Yeah, that was
Sorry.
1,249 players in Santiago. So that's a great
yeah.
victory again for a very well-known player. Very very good. Someone I'm sure we'll see popping up, maybe even at NIC as well.
Yes.
But yeah, let's move on because
Yeah.
time's
Go over to
ticking.
Melbourne.
Into Melbourne, where
Someone's brave enough
our
to say move on.
Spilly of the Year winner took down another regional championship.
He could win another Spilly.
Where's his award?
He could
Done
win.
it again.
He could win another Spilly.
Where's his Spilly?
He's gonna be back to back spilling. That's
He needs to give me his address. That's why I can send
What? You can see him in
no,
person.
we're hand
isn't it?
delivering it.
it. What's the picture with like Michael Scott, the meme? Like
The handshake.
yeah. Yeah, I'll
But
run
yeah.
through the decks for top 11.
Top 11.
Yes,
Thank you.
it was 3 Raging Bolts, 5 Gardevoir, 2 Terrabox, and 1 Flareon. So, yeah.
In that sort of order as well. With
No,
5
no.
of the top 6 being
No.
Guardi.
No Dragapult. That's the
Don't
big...
even try it down under. All the
That's-
best players play Guardi.
yeah,
Highest
that's the big thing.
Dragapult was 18th.
Yes, and
Yeah,
it was
it's just
Dragadusk.
crazy.
Yeah,
You can
that's
see why.
crazy.
They're farmed by the best Aussies.
And Henry Brand finished 21st with Dragapult as well. Yeah, not a good time for Dragapult. I actually want to, before we get into Brent's, Brent played the same list, right? From memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
Daichi,
keep getting away with this.
Daichi's list, I just want to go through because this list was
Yeah.
quite
Go on,
fun.
Ben. Tell us all. Floor is yours.
Whether is this Daichi's list?
Yes.
I thought you played
He's
Pidgeot.
clicked on it. Huh?
Did you play Pidgeot?
No, there's one. Who was it? I feel like some of the other Japanese contingent played it, but not Daichi. Hold on, I will find it for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to go through that
There's
list.
Uneda played the same list as Daichi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I will find who did,
Yeah.
because we definitely were being fed information, because obviously Melbourne was happening before us.
Mm-hmm.
So there were people DMing me of like what was on the top tables, and there was definitely
A
a
Pidgeot
Terra box checkmate with Pidgeot and Dusknoir and Briar.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll have to try. and
It's
find it
Kato. It's Kato Arai playing it.
Ah, okay.
51st place, Ben.
now. 51st. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a hybrid. It's mostly like a Terrapagos Pidgeot, but it also has
That's why.
Green Crystal.
That's why I couldn't find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got it up now. Just presenting it now. Yeah. So much
obviously
what?
this is like
Go
a
on.
less well-performing list, obviously. It only went 7-4, but when it's Kato, you kind of take notice,
Mm-hmm.
and it has these elements. It's like a mash of two things, right? It's limited down the scope of attackers from a Terra box, in that like Pikachu's not there, for example, and there's no Teal Mask switch shenanigans. It's just saying that Crispin Crystal Pump is like a really good early game, and that you can sculpt the crazy finishes into the aggro matchups and just say, lol, Dusknoir Briar game, shake my hand, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Needs so much, obviously, so much surge, hence the 2-2 Pidgeot and the 4-4 Noctowl. Heavy lines there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really look forward to trying this out.
Well, I mean, like
my brain is gonna melt playing this.
Yeah.
Speaking of checkmate decks, so I know one we didn't actually cover. I know you guys were kind of itching to try and get him on stream as well. But Yella's Golden Go
Yes.
checkmate deck, which he unveiled to me like after round one. He was just like, "I'll tell you, Alex, it's got this, and then this," and I was like, "When are we ending?"
And
He
this.
just kept going, and then and he was just like, "Yeah, well."
The thing is, like, I feel like Yella probably wasn't just pulling you to the side. I feel like he nudged everyone he could possibly talk to. He was having a whale of a time. I saw his list. He was one of the first players I looked at just in the morning, because we had Sander on our players to watch, and he unfortunately didn't attend.
Yeah.
Thinking that he was. We wanted to swap him with Yella, so I just quickly looked at his list, and then I was like, and then he was EXO early, but we somehow just didn't get him on, which was, I feel like that was one of the only travesties, I think, of the weekend, not finding a opportunity to talk about this.
But
Yeah, I'd agree.
That's definitely another deck that we would highlight to take a look at. I mean, it is on the Limitless pages, because it's so unique, right?
Yeah, I'm presenting it
obviously
now.
has those checkmate pieces. So plays Rare Candy, plays Pidgeot, plays Dusknoir, there was like
Cypher.
there
Yeah,
was
the
like
Cypher for pieces,
101
right?
Dusknoir.
has the Briar in there as well. I think, was it Cerulege made it in?
Cerulege, 1-1.
Cerulege, yeah. 1-1 Cerulege. 2 TM Evo. Playing a TM Evo approach, but no
So yeah,
Dusclobs. That's right. Yeah. Just the one.
just
Pidgeotto.
utilizing the 2 Rare Candies, like
That's right.
cherry picking what he needs, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool. Sorry, now back to Melbourne. But yes, Brent won with his Guardy lists once again. That we don't need to keep waxing really lyrical about that. We've spoken a bit about the Japanese contingent who had come across and done pretty well as well. There were 3 in that top 11. Daichi, obviously one of the most well known of them, coming top 4. We had Natalie Miller. I mean, again, there's just names and players that we've all kind of seen throughout, especially from that area, do super well. Any other surprises there? There was a Melodic Wolves that just fell outside.
There was a Melodic Wars. Finished 12th.
I feel like this is mostly just like the top player diff, in that the Guardies would have just churned through the Dragapulse, and that's why in this case it was a Gardevoir Fest, but in Utrecht it was more Dragapult. And I feel like that tug of war is still basically unanswered.
It was. I mean, I think maybe this is. I mean, I'm just quickly looking at the actual metagame for the 2 Dragapulse decks together were sort of just about 16%, and then Gardevoir was only just behind at 15.3. In comparison to like Utrecht, where it was actually still a bit of a difference. But yeah, Guardy taking over down under. You happy with that? Anything else we want to cover from the weekend of Poke?
I think just on the point of the Dragon Ball doing so, I say worse than the others. I think it's just how Joe pretty much said it. being that they're going to just be fed by the other Gardevoirs. Yeah. Other than that,
when it's a 560 player tournament, unlike some of these other regionals, you just find the Gardevoirs in the room.
That variance.
Yeah, that variance.
Lower.
That variance. Yeah.
The variant of variance.
It's just the inevitability. Also,
the Benjamin Yard variant down under.
Also, shout out to the 19 for alligator players.
Oh yeah. How did they do?
Not well.
I did scroll down to one. I was literally about to talk about it, and I was like, actually, that's pretty low.
So this was Danklin bringing an army of gators to the table and tweeting out about it for the laughs, I would imagine.
3 of them finished 4-3-1, and that's the best record.
Yeah. So
And the worst was 0-4 drop. Yeah, that's not good.
Definitely going to make for a good video, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But,
they had a laugh.
In a way, it is meta manip, but it's like the most expensive and unfruitful meta manip I've ever seen. It's crazy.
Anyway, right.
I'm trying to see if they all played the same list, and I think they did, apart from one of them that finished 4-3-1, who played the 2-2 Melodic EX, which is the same list that won for Coco, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Because they played the 2-2 Melodic and the 1 Mimikyu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unsure the best way of playing for Alligator, if it's the 2 Mimikyu or the 2-2 Melodic. It's just so hard. Just so hard to switch out. Yeah, I'm thinking about it way too much.
Gator's terrible against Guardy, simple. It's awful against Guardy.
Right.
Okay.
Enough tournament talk. I think it's time to move on to our next little bit, which we're gonna do a very quick. I said quick fire tier list, but we always end up taking bloody forever. And I think this time maybe we just someone says it, you say your reason. Unless it's wild, we don't argue with it.
No, actually, I suggest this, right? Let's go round the table. You pick the tier, and we just don't say anything, and then we just go with that. Or is that gonna hurt Joe too much?
I don't know what you mean.
I don't really know what you mean either, but
I say Dragon Ball and you say S or whatever.
Is that not what Alex has just said?
No, but yeah, just just okay, fine. I don't know. I'm not speaking sense today, am I? Right, Guardy S. Okay. Fine.
Any arguments?
No, Dragon Ball S. Yes.
Are we splitting them?
Slowpolt S. Yeah. No, they are split. Yeah. So it's like Dragon Ball.
Are we doing as a play for Portland?
As a play for Portland, yes.
As a play for Portland,
then I'd put it as A.
I would also put it A.
Fine.
Tippy top of A.
Tippy top of A. Okay, fine. Dragon Ball Ogabon, I'd put as A. Sorry.
Hey, new deck. Joe's just been leaked. Joe's play for Portland.
Raging Balls Ogapon. I've just said Dragon Ball way too much. A Raging Ball Ogapon. A. Yeah.
A.
Joltic Box. I'm going to say bottom A.
Yeah, scrapes into A for me.
Fine.
Yeah.
Ooh, would have been lower for Joe.
Dragon Ball Dustnod.
Dragon Ball Dustnod, B.
Yeah, agreed. Terror Box. I'd say B. Go on.
I don't dislike it as a play. I don't think you can ever put it in A, so I'd be like a high B.
I just don't like it, but
high B for me.
B is fine.
Yeah. Dengo Dragapult. I put this as A, personally.
B.
B.
Yeah.
Would you put it above Terrorbox?
No.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Flareon Noctowl has to be B, right? Surely.
C.
Oh, C. Okay, low B.
High C. The highest of Cs.
Frostlass Monkey Dory, I'd put C.
C.
S plus.
S plus plus.
So Joe wouldn't dare play it. So
and Zoroark, I'd put a C.
I'd put as B.
yeah, that's,
I
Would
do
you?
really like Jan's changes.
Would you put it
I
low?
would put
Would you put it above?
as a
Flareon?
play for Portland? I think it's a B.
Yeah,
Because Guardy's just going to be all over
Fine.
the place.
the
Would you
tipping,
put-
there's the eventual tipping point
I
of
guess,
Guardy
yeah.
finally eclipsing Pult in play.
I guess it doesn't have a terrible matchup in the top two, so okay,
Straight to
fine.
the top two. It's the rest you have to worry about.
Yes, that's my. I guess that's my.
Jan's
worry.
list has made an attempt at least.
Bottom B.
Mid to high B.
Yeah.
High B. Bomb.
High B. Okay, fine.
Above
Mid.
Flareon at
That's
least.
what I said mid.
Above Flareon.
Flareon I
that's
put in
fine.
C, so I don't know.
Dragapult Zard.
This is my play. I'm putting an A tier.
Would you? Would you put it
Do
in?
you honestly believe that? Let's quickly touch on this because you're.
Would you
just
put
said
it?
your play.
Would you put it above Jolting Box?
I can't
Yes.
wait till Joe submits a different list to Dragazard now.
No, I'm telling you, I'm committed. I've been climbing up the ELO. Here's my logic.
Go on.
It's basically straight Dragapult in the mirror. Basically, I would say. You also can't get energy board wiped as easily because you just have Zard that can pop out at any point. So you don't just get the same railroad issue in a mirror. You'll find a way towards something in every game. And actually having that amount of Pokemon is like not bad in the game, just generally. And it gives you a more solid Gardevoir. Like straight Dragapult is undeniably awkward into Guardy, but I think the Zard gives you something. It allows the Guardy to be the aggressor, and you can punish them for that pretty heavily.
That's the worry. I mean, I didn't face any Zard, but I think I faced maybe one or two randomly with some Guardy online, and I was just like, this is actually just normal Zard, and I felt like this is actually not easy.
This boy is a real pain, actually.
He's big, and he hits bloody hard.
So essentially, in that matchup, my approach is to like use Zard into the EX. If a Drifloon comes out, that's when I can go Pult, use a Countercatcher or a Gust, push that guy out of the way. Then I can take my 3 prize turn or a 2 prize turn at least. So it basically just brute forces me to have more 2 prize turns freely. Whereas I think a straight Pulse against Gardevoir, they can force these turns of you taking no prizes or 1 prize, and then they monkey back and completely wreck you. So I think you're at least balanced in the mirror, but now you're giving yourself at least a bit of play into Gardevoir. Not to the point of like 50-50. I still don't like love it, but a straight Pult I feel is worse than a Pult Zard into that matchup. Essentially, I feel like Dragazard early on in this meta was not possible because of the amount of Dragadusk. But I think we're at the point where there's so much more straight Pult that I can play Dragazard and it'd be okay. I also think Zard is just like clearly insane against Joltik Box and has always been good into Raging Bolt. I'm playing the Chi-Yu, and that's very good against
The revenge
Tiamat as
attacker.
well. Yeah. So you can take that revenge as a 1 prizer, have 1 energy banked on Zard from your first Infernal Rain, and then they're just like, oh, this is really bad. So I've been playing it for 2 nights, but I've been playing it for like 7 hours straight, back-to-back nights, climbing on the ladder. So I'm happy with it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Moving
enough.
on. So Joe says A. I'm still going to say it's a B tier deck.
That's fine. Don't trust me.
I'd put it.
I wouldn't trust me if I was me.
I put it lower. Yeah, that's fine.
Just
Zard,
Listen,
convinced you,
this
just like
won
that.
This did win a Champions League tournament, by the way.
but it's only for Alligator.
I can't. Yeah, true. Good point. That has shut me down, actually.
You finally shut him down, Ben. Right, moving on.
I've got nowhere to go from there.
I've won. Zard Pidgeot. I put a C.
Bung.
Yeah, Bung. Yeah. Goldingo. Just straight Dingo.
Forget it.
C.
Yeah. Roaring Moon. Now I've always.
Right, so this is
is
one we
being
have
a
to
little-
talk about, I guess. Okay.
This is Roaring Moon EX, not the single prize.
What? You just said Roaring Moon, that was it. All right, so we're talking
Yeah,
EX,
yeah.
Big,
This Roaring
big,
Moon
big boy,
and then
Dark
Roaring
Box,
Moon,
whatever you want
Roaring
to call
Moon
it.
to Dunsparce. Yeah, fine.
Big Moon
Yeah.
is mid.
Yeah, C.
Yeah, agreed. I think the
C Big Moon.
I like little, like moving on to Little Moon. I actually quite
Here we
like that
go.
deck.
Talk
Yeah.
to me.
You got draw power. You're a single prize, like mammoth, just taking down Gardevoirs left, right, and centre. This is great.
You're really selling it to me. Are you putting it low B?
You're talking neutralization zone, which is busted right now. You know, it's just busted. I think there's actually quite a lot going for it. It just seems like a really cool deck. Single prize is always pretty unique to kind of take into a format. And when you've got a good Guardi matchup, I mean, it's always.
I'll take you far. I'll take you far.
That's another reason why I like Dragazard, because I can Charmander away the neutralization zone. He's thought of everything.
We do need a D tier list.
Everything. Oh my.
All I'm hearing is Joe is Charizard's biggest fan 1 year later.
I've always loved it.
Yeah.
To equal this, we need a D tier list out of the Frostlass, Monkey-Dory, Zard, Pidgeot, Dengo, and Roaring Moon. We have to have something on D tier, surely.
Take your pick.
You can put
Roaring
Moon down there.
Yeah, I'd put Roaring Moon down there. Yeah, I'd put it at bottom C. Fine. Okay. So Gardevoirs are only S tier. Then A tier we have Dragapult, Raging Bolt, Ogerpon, Joltik Box, and Dragazard. Then B tier we have Dragodustoir.
What happened to Polt Ogerpon?
Then B tier we have Dragodustoir, Goldengo Dragapult, Terrabox, N Zoroark, Flareon Noctowl, Roaring Moon to Dunsparce. Then C tier we have Frostlass, Monkey-Dory, Zard, Pidgeot, Dengo, and then D in toilet.
D's the other stuff, like
toilet.
If we didn't mention your deck, then it's D or worse.
This
right?
Toilet tier is Roaring Moon.
We're talking Blissey. We're talking.
I do like a Slowpoke.
Turtle.
Okie dokie.
Turtle Booth.
What about
Turtle
Crabominable?
Booth is probably above. It's probably in
that
D.
probably sneaks up.
What about Crab?
Crab.
Abominable.
Get your Kofu out.
Well, hang on. What about Daunting Gaze Tyranitar, Ben? I heard you had a tough time against that this weekend. Shea Burton.
Oh yes, I did. Yeah, I had a terrible time with that. Gardevoir does nothing. Gardevoir does nothing.
Was this the deck he was running around with, saying I need to challenge people?
So not to spoil some upcoming content, but Shea's trying to win with £5 budget decks. And one of his decks was the T-Tar that has Daunting Gaze for item lock when it's in the active. And he played against Ben playing Gardevoir. And it was a turn 2 Candy T-Tar reversal energy.
I couldn't do anything.
Bounce your stadium with neutralization zone and then milled his second copy of stadium.
I couldn't do anything.
Taking a KO on a Guardi.
So he started. What's it called? T-Tar is.
Larvitar.
Yeah. Larvitar. He started Larvitar, and I thought he was playing Tyranitar EX. Foolishly, obviously. So I got my artisan out, and started doing, setting up. Then he bumped it, and then, as Joe said, just milled it turn 2. But then also I can't use Night Stretcher, so it's just useless. And everything's weak apart from Lily's Clefairy. So Lily's Clefairy, I think, tanked 2 hits.
So I cannot wait for that video from Shay. I will be clicking it immediately and watching till the end.
Yes,
so
exactly. Good.
I was fortunate enough to come away with a win against his
best
deck.
Fortunate.
Best part about that, Dad, is I was called a professional. So.
Was that the first time? Brown Bear Games, if you're listening. Benjamin's on the lookout.
Not the last time. Right.
Imagine your team T-shirt is like fuzzy, like the fur of a bear.
Oh, please.
I think, yeah, I need to get on.
And it has pullover claws. Right. I might actually pay for that. Anyway. I might pay for that myself. To be honest.
Yeah. Right.
I'll
sounds comfy.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right. Okay. Is that it? Is our this is done? Okay.
That's it.
Well, the only other thing we had left, that's our tier list for Portland. That was our... I guess the only other discussion we probably might want to have is, do we finally think, you've already touched on it, Joe, Guardi actually tipping over the potential Dragapult play? We've seen these two at the top for a while now, and Dragapult itself had its own internal battle of Dusknoir versus Slowpoke, which has finally seen Slowpoke overtake the Dusknoir variant. Does Guardi finally become more played in a tournament like this?
It's weird in that I think it should, but I don't think it will. Does that make sense? I feel like there'll still be more Dragapult in the room, probably.
What an argument!
But I do think Gardevoir's the best deck. It's just what I feel people will play.
Do you think there's a reason for it? Is it do people still think maybe Dragapult has a better time into a wider field and kind of can get itself into a day 2 berth better than Gardevoir?
Probably.
What's the thinking?
I feel like as we've seen, to win an event, it's easier to win it with Gardevoir, in that Dragapult will be stopped by a top Guardy at some point. But I do think Pult inherently is at that power level that can just feel absurd sometimes. And it's like probably the best feeding deck to play in the game right now, in that it sees the most cards consistently and feels like it's in control of a lot of games with the slowdown approach and the amount of comeback potential you have with the Stamp as well. Like Gardevoir can't afford to play Stamp. So you have these boasts with the Pult that still makes it accessible for most people.
Anything to add there, Ben?
No, not really on the Dragapult Gardevoir chat, but I think my hot take on Portland is that Raging Bolt is going to be the most played deck.
Most played. Interesting.
That is a hot take.
I think it's going to be the most played deck. I think it's going to take all of the amount of representation from Miraidon it could possibly take.
You don't think people like Miraidon that much? Or
I just think for that type of player, I think Raging Bolt's more of an attractive play.
Proposition.
Interesting.
I think it's a more.
Is Bolt better into Guardy? I don't actually know.
I think it's more.
I feel like.
I think it's
It's
more flexible.
Bolt's really. Bolt's really weird. So I found myself in scenario. So I played Bolt a few times over the weekend, and you're either often chasing a Hoot or you're chasing energy, to try and like limit the explode turn that they might have on a Gardevoir EX on the bench, and I think like that one decision can be so pivotal in the game. More often than not, I choose the Hoot because I just don't want them to have any outs to anything. In combination with an Iona.
I think throughout the past 3 or 4 regionals, including the 3 major events that we've had this past weekend, and a couple of the regionals before, I think that the trend in Raging Bolt players have gone up, but it's kind of a little bit equal now. It's kind of 1 or 2 percentages away from each other. But I think Raging Bolt will just sweep it over Miraidon this weekend.
I guess it's also very attractive to see a baby Bolt with 2 energies, 3 energies attached to it, rather than having to go Joltik and still have you're still giving Guardy an extra turn to like find that one counterplay once a hands comes up and amps you, right? So you actually whereas you're afforded no time under pressure because of the baby Bolt.
I think it's just a lot more flexible. Anyway. I think it's a lot more flexible. I think the game turnarounds are a lot better. I think the recovery is a lot better. I just think it's just a much better deck.
That's fair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to continue the Guardy Pult chat, but one deck that's going to win Portland, Joe, other than yourself, of course.
I still.
Sorry, Bolt.
I'll go Enzoroark.
You get Enzoroark to win.
Enzoroark to win the whole thing.
Come on.
Actually, he loves it.
I'll go
Flareon. Flareon to win the whole thing.
Yeah. I'll go Flareon. Actually, that's mental.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You're backing Ian Robb and Ian Robb only.
I'll go Enzoroark. I feel like every week we've seen the list get a little bit better, and I think we could be at the point.
It's time. Benjamin, one deck to win.
I think if I was to say Enzoroark, it would go against my Raging Bolt take. So I'm not going to go Enzoroark. I think a Gardevoir will win.
You think Guardy?
Yeah.
I do think a Brent list will win it again.
Yeah.
It's kind of a boring take, but I feel like
don't you think that's insane for the same 60 to win as much as it already has? It's only won 3 of our majors.
Yeah, has that ever happened? 4? If it's 4? That wouldn't have happened before, right?
That Lugia list that
Regan,
was it Regan played?
Yeah,
that had like
Regan
a load of
Red
list.
Solve.
I think we've had this discussion on on X at the moment. I think people have tried to see that, like, a ream of lists
Yeah.
of the same list.
Of
and
the
I
same
think it's
thing.
right up there. 3 victories is just so insane.
Yeah, it's good.
But yeah.
Cool.
All right, so Joe, you're heading off to Portland very soon
Tomorrow.
for a visit.
It's weird.
So,
I'm following the sun, so I fly at 3 and land at like 5:30, but it's a 10+ hour flight.
Real.
So I'm gonna be all over the shop.
I told Harry about your flight times and she just didn't get it. I said
No.
basically he's flying against the sun and he's flying just a bit slower than the Earth's circumference. So he's getting.
Is that right?
slower-
Am I not flying faster than the sun
No, because you've landed
Spinning.
5.
moving with me?
Because you land at 5, right? You land 2 hours later.
True.
So
true.
you fly 2 hours. I'm doing this as well. You fly.
I'm doing this.
You're-
What is this? He's
You're
got
2
hand
hours.
motions. He's
You're
cupping.
2 hours
Well, you
later
needed-
than the
You needed a
Earth.
Terry's chocolate orange to really.
Yeah. But the best part about it is she's feeding the baby at the same time, so she just wasn't in the frame of mind. But I was telling her anyway. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's the way
Right.
it is.
Benjamin, anything for you this weekend?
Absolutely not. No, nothing. Absolutely
We're just going to be
nothing.
following Joe's journey on.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm playing the new
Okay, now-
Doom. That's what I'm doing.
Playing the new Doom.
Yeah. That's
Last
about it.
weekend of football as well. Don't forget.
That is-
Bank
true.
holiday, bank holiday weekend, boys. Come on, Joe's missing out.
yes.
No, that's
Joe's
why.
using his holiday,
that's
the
why I'm-
minimal holiday to go away.
That's
I
a
guess.
saved day of holiday. I'm buzzing.
Nelly's going to be watching me play Doom and slay demons. That's
Very
about
good.
it. That's about it, really.
Sounds great.
What about yourself,
I'm
Dan?
gonna try and just family's time. I mean, there's a lot of traveling involved. This like kind of latter stages of this season, right? So any opportunity to be at home and be present, I think it's quite nice. I'm in that mindset now where I have to be like, I actually really need to spend more and more time with them as kids. By the time, like tomorrow,
They're growing
Mason
up.
will be
They're growing up.
They are
Mason will be
growing up.
10.
I know.
So it's,
They are growing up.
Chelsea
scary.
Academy. Who thought it?
Well, that's it.
Go on.
But yeah, let's end it there. I think that's long enough, almost an hour and 25 minutes. So yeah, thank you very much. If you guys have stuck around throughout this pod, we'll get Ben to try and put some segments in. But if you're listening to this, you're already gone through it anyway. But thank you very much. This has been the Spill the TCG podcast with myself, Alex Dow, Joe Bernard, and Benjamin Yard. See ya.
Bye.